Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob the Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we're doing a special video. This is Rob's little tricks, little things I do with my knives. I've been asked to do this and yeah, let me just tell you right away, I'm not a modder. I've learned a lot, gotten a lot better, but I'm not officially a modder. You know, there's people out there who do this way better, and if you have any questions about this, I suggest first go to a professional modder. But if you're like me, a little adventurous, and you like to fiddle with your knives, join me in the journey. Let's do this. All right, so today I actually started working on something on here. So I'll just tell you a few things that I've done so far. Here is my Javi Garcia. I love this knife. I love the blade shape and everything. When I got it though, I snail trail immediately. So I had polished and it's super sharp edges everywhere. So I fixed that. We're going to talk about it because there's a couple things I want to finish doing on this one. Here's another one that I very much enjoy. This is my CRK Large Sebenza. Okay, so this is one that I put some jimping up here. I started to do a last line of jimping I wanted to put in. So I wanted to kind of go through what I did there. And then here's my Dixon, the one that I polished, did a little cutaway. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then we'll talk about one other one that I really want to finish up. It is my R&H Knives, my Tasca 2 right here. I really want to fix this cutaway, so I did some work on that one. So we're going to go through all of that. What are the machines that I use? What are some of the things I do? Probably do a lot. There's going to be a lot of video, and I'm going to be splicing it down to a short video, so there's a lot of work for one video. So you guys, you know, this is an effort. It's not like a quick, you know, talking about a knife and unboxing review. This will take some time. So hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you like it. Let me know what was helpful. Let me know what wasn't. I'm willing to share, but I want to make sure it's worth your time and worth my time. So let's do this. All right, so here's my Sebenza. One thing you'll notice, there's two ways you can approach this. I'm leaving the blade on because a lot of times I'm working, I'm on phone calls and stuff, and I want to be able to modify it right there. Now, not for everybody, right? Now, the point of putting this on is so you don't scratch the knife. And it does work pretty well. But if you feel like that's not something you want to do, I do recommend something like this. I'm going to grab it real quick. If you have a desk you can attach it to, you can get yourself some vice grips like this, right? And I can attach this to my desk, and I use these. These are really great. It's got some soft grips here, so I can disassemble the knife, put the blade in here, and do my work in here. If you're first time doing it, you're not sure you can keep a steady hand, I do recommend something like that. They are very helpful for sure. Right. The other thing you're going to need is some good steel files. All right. So these are the Easy Lap sharpener. These are diamond needle files made in the USA. I do recommend these. You can get the individual ones. I got those at Knife Center, or you can get some of these sets right here. So you'll see I have a few of the 600 grit, and then I have a 250 grit. I don't use those a lot because they're pretty coarse. For the fine work, they're not as good. But I have some of these because these aren't always absolutely perfect. Sometimes they're not as fine as you want them, especially if you're trying to do a fine groove. So just keep that in mind. There are some preferred ones. Now I have the preferred I got for Christmas. These are German ones. These are for like carbon fiber G10. I wouldn't use steel on these because these are not diamond, but these are great when I'm working on, if I have a carbon fiber scale. Let me see, find one here. Something that I might work on. Yeah, so here's a G10 scale. This is the Spyderco. I like this scale, but it was very sharp on the edges, so I filed all the edges down. Made it very comfortable and soft, and made this knife more comfortable. This S45VN1. This was the knife my wife bought for me for anniversary, but I had a different scale on here, and I just really like the scale that came with the Rex 76, and so I kept this one here. I just think it's kind of a cool scale. But anyways, I made this much more comfortable and enjoyable by getting rid of some of those edges, which is nice. So those are things you can do with your knife. Oh, here's another one, Yojimbo. I use this on my Yojimbo, all these edges. So what you do is just slowly file. You got to kind of work it as you go around, right? So when I use something like this, I'll usually use the flat side of the file like this, and I'll work going like this across. And just very slowly and patiently, you know, you don't stay too long in a spot. When you get into these curved areas, this is where it's nice to have some of these where there's a little curved on this. You see how it's curved right there? So I'll work in there like that, right? And I'll even go in here a little bit to get rid of some of the edges. This made this very, very comfortable, very enjoyable. At some point I may want to try to put some custom scales on here. I don't know. We'll see. I like it like this as it is. It's pretty cool. And I did put a CME on this one too. That's one of those things that I do. Now, CMEs, there's a ton of videos out there. I've done a ton of videos. You can see those, but I do recommend them. They're OCD for EDC. He does these compression made easy for compression locks. I do like those. So, all right, so what I did here, now I stabilized the blade so it's not moving around and not cutting me, right? And now what you can do is, like, if you have an edge and you don't want to cut yourself, I didn't do this here, but for the sake of the video, since I'm talking, I'm not paying as close as attention, I probably should do this. So what I'll do is I will cover up the edge here, okay? And I may go around a couple of times, right? Just so the edge is not going to quickly cut me. Now, is that going to protect me 100%? No, there's no guarantee. And I tape it in here so it doesn't move around too much. It's pretty stabilized, but I want to keep the edge away, and I want to keep this from moving so I can stabilize that. And then I want to cover around here so I'm not going to touch anything. All right, now the trick is when you're doing, now there was no jimping lines up here. Like these jimping came with the blade, but these 3 lines, I'm doing this so I can make it front flip. And it front flips pretty well, except I felt like one more line of jimping would have been perfect, and I did. So, oh, by the way, 1 line of jimping, is that enough? Sometimes it is. I put this 1 line of jimping on this guy right here. You see this right here? Can you see that? Make sure it focuses. Are we not focusing? Here we are. You can see it right there. You see that little focus? And that 1 line of jimping gives me enough traction to really catch on there. So, but in this case, I think 3 lines of jimping was going to be perfect. So one of the other things that I might recommend, I have these glasses with extra vision. This will get you a little closer. You can turn a light on so you can zoom in, so you might see that. So I'm going to put these on right now. We'll show you some of the various tools that I use, but I'm going to put this on right now so I can get a little closer. Yeah, it's next to impossible when I'm trying to do this. And, you know, this is for me to show you, but if I can get my glasses, I can read them up a little bit like this, and I'll get on here. So the other thing is I put my finger right here. This is my guide. Now, when you start a new line, you don't just go straight across. You got to find a little edge. You got to guide it right there. So I'm going to get like right here. I'm going to get on the edge, put my finger here, and then the goal is to go back and forth without scratching the scale, right? So just enough where I'm off that edge there, and I go back and forth until I get enough of a nick that now it'll guide the file. The file won't fly all around, slide all around. And if you do scrape this, which happens especially in the beginning, 1000 grit sandpaper will file that right out, and it'll look kind of really nice. Now, if you'll notice, I've already made the line all the way across. And the lines are pretty straight. They weren't when I first started doing this as straight. I've gotten much better at that. But the trick is small lines, look at it, control it. That's where maybe the vice grips are really helpful. So what I would do here first, I would find my line, right? And you want to make sure your edge is really nice. Now with the diamond, notice it's a little thicker up here. I'm not going to use that edge. That's why I have different files, because some of these files, I'll show you, some of these files have a really nice edge for starting that. So this is a good edge right here. See, it's thinner. This is a good edge right here. It's thinner. Not on the out here, not here, because it's a little flatter. So that's the problem with these. They're not perfect. They're not super expensive files. They're not super cheap files. But this is a really nice one. You see this one? That's nice and thin right there, but thicker out here. So just got to find one that works well for you. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find this line right here. Making sure I'm on camera. Okay, good. Find this line right here. Be patient, don't rush it. So now I'm online. So this guides me here, and then I move back and forth. And usually just patience. You might do this for a few minutes. If you're not willing to wait a few minutes and be patient, you probably don't whittle. This is going to be very frustrating for you. This is not a blow and go right through it. This is not one of those drills, right? You're probably a production knife guy. You would never be a custom knife guy, because custom knife guy, you gotta love doing crazy stuff like this and really take your time. So I would do this until I finally had a nick. Then once that nick was in, then I would take that and I would start working it across like this. As long as I had a track to stay in. If you jump over too far, then you start sliding. You want that track to keep you in the spot, right? And so then I'm over here. Now I've got a full track over here. And sometimes I'll look down like this just to make sure I'm going straight, okay? So I'm holding the knife in place and I'm making sure I'm going straight. You just got to take your time, and we'll have to speed some of this up because some of this stuff is going to take forever. Now, you can see I have a line, but now I want to make sure it's even on the left side. So then I start to bring it over here. So it's even on both sides because I like symmetry. So now we're going to get this side over here and just take our time and don't push down hard. These are diamond files. The diamond material will now the steel's already been hardened, so this is a lot harder to file than before you heat treat steel. So you have to be patient. That's why a lot of these knife makers, they'll do this well before they heat treat their knives. It's always a lot harder afterwards, and it's possible, but it's just slower, a lot slower. So we're going to move this back and forth like this, nice and easy. I'm just going to take my time, and I'll speed this up. I like to check, see where I'm at. Now I have a little, this is from an old microfiche, and I made this into a little, like a little jeweler glass. So I'm gonna see how it looks. Take a nice close look up, see if it's even on both sides. All right. Yeah, okay. So it's good on the right, but the left side I wanna even it out and kind of get the same width between the two, okay? Nice and easy, just take your time. And make sure you know where you're at. Don't get into and scratch your scale. So if you're going to leave the on and do the tape, be very cautious. Don't go too much one way or the other. You'll scratch your scale and you'll have to try to fix that some other way, right? So be patient. Be patient. Don't rush it. Oop, and I just slid. Now this is where I'm going to have the sand. And this is why I have it over here, because I don't want to scratch going forward. Trust me, I've done this before where I slipped. And I'm talking, which makes it more challenging to do this. So, let's zoom in so we can see that. If you're a perfectionist, get a modder to do it. Get someone who's a professional to do this, all right? But if you like tinkering with your own knives, this is some of the stuff that I enjoy doing. Now, is this your first time doing it? Do a cheap knife. Do an expensive knife. Don't go hog wild crazy on your first knife, right? Find one that you enjoy that's easier to work with. So I'm going to zoom back out so you guys can see everything. And let me look here one more time. I need to get a little light on it and take a look, make sure I'm even on both sides. All right, so I feel like that's pretty good, but before I do that, I have a couple of small micro scratches because I slipped just there as I was talking to you, which I hadn't done until we started talking. So here's my 1500 grit sandpaper. I don't like to use big sheets, so I just cut a little itty bitty piece out that I'm going to use. All right, so let's do that. And we're just going to try to smooth out that edge there. Just try and make it even. This is Magna Cut at H6364 HRC from Chris Reeve Knives. Sorry, I put an S on the wrong one there. Chris Reeve Knives. There's a little line. I just want to see if I got that off. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. All right, so let's see how this turned out. I'm going to wipe the dust off here because there'll be metal dust on here. All right, so I don't know if you can see that. Now I have 3 lines of jimping. See if it makes this a little easier. Oh yeah. a lot easier. So before I had to get down to these 2 lines of jimping right there. Now I have a little top one where I can just kind of get it on top, and it's pretty easy. See here. Yeah, really easy. I just got to make sure now before I had to have like that right spot, now I just have to be on top of it, and it's pretty good. Yeah, that's nice. So that's all I did there. And I don't know if you can see, I did a little sanding on there, so it might buff it up a little bit, but you know, I can also use 600 grit sandpaper if that's too polished. That's absolutely possible. So, but that little jimping on that little nub on top, you can see that. Can you guys see that little jimping? That made it pretty nice. So now I just hold it and I can flip it pretty well. There you go. Right? And I think I can do it left-handed too. Let's see. Yeah, I can do left-handed too. So now I put custom studs on here. The original studs, this was the Blade HQ, had 1 stud on one side. You do a hole punch, and you can pop it right out, and then I tightened these on, and used a torque screwdriver here, Loctite, sealed it on really well. This matches the scales, and then this is the carbon fiber. I waited a long time to wait for this carbon fiber to drop again by Blade HQ, but then I found out Jay Dizzle Design does these custom scales that he could have done one for me, and I could have 12 carbon fiber, but that's okay. I waited a long time to get this one. I'm not going to switch this one out. If I do one in 12 carbon fiber, I'll have to buy another one at some point, and then maybe see if Jay Dizzle is available to do another scale. He's the one who did my smock, Rex 45 in the antique paper butterscotch micarta. Oh, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But I like that. That one doesn't look too bad. Lines are pretty straight, pretty even, right? And makes this pretty nice. So as long as my finger's right on there, yeah. Much easier to do with extra line and jimping there. That really made a difference. So I'll show you another one that I did that on. So my Lamia, the SPK Lamia, it's a great knife, right? But I put some lines of jimping on there. Now, will I put another line on here? I don't know. I might. But I had these lines. I first did a few up there, but having a little lower makes it a lot easier to flip. Where I put my thumb right there, and it's pretty easy to get. So like that. Get your thumb there, and boom. And what it does, it has a little point of contact all the way across. When it was up here, I had to get the very top, and it was a little more challenging to do the top. But when you're down here, that makes it just a little bit easier, right? So much easier to flip a knife like that. And the nice thing is, it does flip left-handed too. So now you have the thumb hole that you can reverse flick, which is always nice. Love that. That's one of the best, you know, thumb hole, fuller hole, whatever you want to call it. I call it fuller hole, thumb hole, same thing. Some people are like, well, it's a thumb right there. Well, you know what? When it's a little bit longer, call it thumb fuller. But anyways, that was a lot of fun to put that on there because that made this knife just, gave it optional. You know, it's not the main thing that I would do, but it's always nice because I love to fidget with my knives to have little options, right? So I enjoy that. Just like I enjoy front flipping my Sebenza. That makes it really nice. So it's pretty shiny. I might use the 600 grit sandpaper later, but I'm gonna have to retape it and do it because I don't use sandpaper. Definitely cover it up. Definitely cover it up. But we'll see. Maybe it's just maybe it's just, patina's a little bit from just use. It'll be fine. All right. So there we did the Sebenza, right? That's cool. Now we did the. So the next one that I really like to do is. I want to work on this guy because I have the sandpaper, but I also want to do a little more cutaway here. This one's really nice right now. I enjoy the action on this. It's really cool. And because up here, I can actually do a little front flipping, but I still can't get my thumb in there where I catch it. And this is a crazy sharp blade. I want to catch it where I clear the detent so I can drop it. I just don't want to clear that and then it comes down guillotine on my finger because there's not a whole lot of finger twirl there to catch it on. But if I can get my thumb in there, I can catch this little part, go a little bit higher, catch it like that, and then I've cleared. So you clear the detent right there, right? But it's a lot easier if this cutaway goes up just a little bit higher. So we're gonna work on that. It's something I've been wanting to do. The other thing is I did polish this off with flits. So that's another thing. I have a cloth. This is a pretty beat up cloth, but it's because I use my flits all the time. And I've used it quite a bit on a lot of things. And that's what I took some of this. It was very gritty, very chalky, kind of a feel onto that with and this had the same, and I did flits, and you can see it's a little more polished over here as well. Not quite as the original. This was Gen 1, the very first Dixon that they dropped. Love this guy. Super smooth, super great action. It was a little sharp on the edges, and we polished that off, and that just made it nice for me. I got big old meaty fingers, so I have two choices, right? I either catch and release the knife and give up on it, but if I really love it, then I can do something with it. And this was a prototype. This was one of the first one. Javi let me buy one of these. He reached out to me and said, hey, I'm doing some of these. What do you think? And I'm like, I'd love to get one. And I loved everything about it except the sharp edges. And it's not unlike my Chavez rendition that I have that was super sharp corners. It was going to be a catch and release, but that's why I don't always do dark, because I can polish these things. I can take care of those edges, and that's important. Let me show you something else. This right here, there were edges really, really sharp here on this lanyard, and this right back here was super sharp, and this was super sharp. So I filed that down with a diamond file, and then I took my creme brulee blowtorch, some pliers, and some water, and I re-anodized that back to the same color as the rest of the clip. And now I don't think you can really tell. You might be able to tell, but it's basically, it re-anodized it so that you don't see it. Same thing right here, re-anodized that. But that edge was just crazy sharp, and it was really uncomfortable, especially when you're flicking the knife. So those are things that I do. Again, good nail file. Take your time, slow, patient. Make sure, I would maybe recommend doing some of these when they're taken apart. So we're gonna now disassemble this guy. I'm gonna move this because I'm not gonna use this yet. I've got the setup, and I've actually got my Ken Onion that I'm gonna use for some of that work. So that's gonna be there as well. So let me move some of this stuff off here. We're gonna disassemble this guy. I think that's a T10. I believe it's a T10. Is it? Maybe it's a T8. I thought it was a T10. Maybe it's a T8. I thought it would be a T10. My bad, my surprise. Okay. Now, I know this one's not captive pivot, but I think I can, usually the pivot, this one's like super glued on this side, and then this one's the one that releases. I typically like to make sure that's the one that's facing the clip. Oh, there we go. So I have these little plastic pry bar tools. I do recommend something like that. We'll put all these parts over here so we can clean it up afterwards. Even though, see, I use it, still gets a little dirty after use. Take these pins out, don't lose those. Beautiful blade, just simply gorgeous. Now there's steel washers there, so a magnet usually works pretty good to get those off, like here. I forget if I was able to get this one off last time. I can't remember if this one was stuck on there. Yeah, this one's on there really good. So we'll leave it on there. I think this one's like, I don't know if you use super glue or Loctite, like there's Loctite 242 is what I use, which is not, you don't have to heat it up to release it. But there's other Loctite, like, I don't forget what it's called. I want to say 243, but it's not. I'm not exactly sure what it's called. All right, let me see if I can get this off. This is really stuck on there for a little bit. I might have to use pliers. Hold on a second. I don't think I put Loctite on there. I always make sure it's nice and sealed. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, it was on there good. Loctite did get in there. Look at that. I have to clean that off. Wow, that really got in there. That's crazy. Okay. And then we'll take the clip off. We can work on that separately. So this was super sharp, very edgy, big old meaty fingers, not super comfortable. So I had to do something to make that work for myself. Otherwise, I would not be able to enjoy the knife. And those are small ergonomic things that people figure out over time. This was Javi Garcia's first folding knife, so I mean, it's freaking phenomenal, beautiful knife. Just a couple things that I needed for big old meaty fingers. Now, I know his design style. This completely fits what he does, so I'm totally cool with that, right? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand that down a little bit. Now, I could use a Dremel too. I find a file to be the best tool. So I have some cardboard back here where the stuff's gonna fly back there. And I might even put a mask on because it will be titanium dust that we're flicking up here. So I have a little N95 mask that I'll probably end up using for this. Let me unplug my plug over here so I can get another plug in. So the first one I'll use is probably my coarse one. That's extra fine. Oh yeah, we're gonna use this one here. So. Just to make sure I don't do any damage, I like to cover stuff up so I know how far I'm going to go. Now, I probably can get this pivot out. I don't know if it's worth my effort. While it's in there with Loctite, I just need to move up just a little bit so it's not as important to me. You do you, right? Do what's important to you. Let me grab my mask. The only benefit, okay, I better not say this. I'm gonna tick somebody off, but this is the only benefit of COVID was I got some of these masks so I can do work on my stuff. Did not wear these any other place if I didn't have to. Okay, here we go. Now I got a mask on, so sorry if I sound a little weird. All right, so what we've done so far is we've moved this up a little bit. We've rounded this down here. Now, it's not perfectly smooth yet. This was the rough part. This is the stuff that really takes material off. This is a very coarse kind of grit here. So I want to be very careful and slow and deliberate. Notice it was slow speed as well. So now I'm going to go to something a little coarser. I mean, a little less coarse, I should say. And see if we can start to round that up a little bit. Now I have the big Ken Onion attachment to this thing. This is the Ken Onion Work Sharp Sharpener. There's a version 2 of this. You can get the new one. It's pretty cool. I don't have it. I don't need it. Oops. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is probably start to round here. Now you can see I'm glad I had the paper just not to go too far. I'm trying to guide me. I do need to go down a little bit here. I'm gonna have to round that, okay. Maybe up here a little bit. All right, here we go. Just have to smooth out a little bit there. You see that? So I put them together, kind of give them an idea how much I have in there, how much my finger's going to get in there. So here, it's already pretty good. I just want to go down maybe just a hair. I don't want to take too much off. Just a little bit to see. All right, just trying to make it a little wider out there, getting close to the edge. You see what I'm trying to do right there? Make that my point where it's moving out. That gives me more room to get my finger in there. It's risky, because if I screwed up, boy, I blow the knife, right? And that'll be a serious bummer. But it can happen. I still have my mask on, so if I'm sounding weird, just so you know, I am working with, you know, titanium dust, so I don't want to get that everywhere. All right, let's see how this looks. Move this over here. Let me take my mask off. Probably hear me a little bit better. You see all the dust here? We don't want to breathe any of that stuff in. Now I see a little discoloration. All that they'll wipe right off. We're going to clean this off and stuff will go away. And matter of fact, when I finish cleaning this, it's going to look really light. So I tend to oil it afterwards. Hey, since I've had kids, baby wipes are awesome because they pick up. If they're wet, those are dry. Oh my gosh, I must get some new ones. Oh, that's a little wet. Okay. They pick up all this dust really well, by the way. I want to protect the detent ball. You don't want to mess with that. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of most of this dust I can. I need to get my other wet wipes because these are so dry. They're not doing jack squat. All right, before I put this away, I'm going to use a little flitz here because I want to take more of this sandblast off just because I think it doesn't look as nice with everything, and I tend to scuff it more. I like a little bit of it. I just don't like the real dark look, right? Especially with that beautiful blade. So this is what I do with my flitz right here. Just use this. Just work it all the way through. This will take time. I mean, this is not meant to like totally remove everything. This is just meant to polish, right? Now, you could polish with a Dremel. You could polish with a buffing pad, you know, or one of those belt buffers. So I don't know if you can tell from the inside to the outside the difference. Well, maybe when I clean it. All right. Let's put this one together. We'll work on another knife here in a second, but let's clean her up and see what she turns out to be. You know, I look at this as works in process. And sometimes I get the knife a little closer to what I want. I don't ever want to go over the top, right? And I'm okay with that. It's kind of like whittling in a way, but not. Just really expensive whittling, I guess. But it is sort of like that, right? Because I'm enjoying the process, and I'm making sure that I like what's happening with the knife. I like to see where it's going to, where it came from, and then every time it gets just a little bit closer, a little bit nicer to what I want it to be. Oh, let me get my other set of wet wipes. Use whatever you have, man, right? Use whatever you have. I have this because I had kids. We kept buying wet wipes because other kids would come over, and it always worked great cleaning up. Works great cleaning up after a stupid cat. If you have cats that, do their thing, these are good for that too, by the way. So let that dry. Try to get some of this dust up. When I finish doing this, I usually wash this thing underwater. It's the best way to clean it up, personally. This is isopropyl alcohol. This is 91%, or high as I can get. I know people use denatured alcohol. It's fine. Isopropyl alcohol works fine for me. Use what works for you. You know what I'm saying? If that works for you, then use it. What I'm trying to do is get this Loctite that was on there really thick, because I don't want that to make that stick again. Now, get a little piece of paper. Go through here. Got alcohol in the little holes there. Blow that out. Oh, I was going to touch this guy up a little bit. These are all good. Let's work on this one a little bit. All right. Let's see how this turn out. Much better. Getting better. Getting better. Every time it's a little improvement. Like I said, I'm not a modder. I do this for fun. And if you do this, you do it at your own risk, right? Remember that. Do this at your own risk. But I would recommend practice on something inexpensive first time you do this. Have fun doing it. The whole point of this is to enjoy your knives, right? I do enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot. So to me, it's fun modifying a knife. It's fun being able to change things on a knife, prove a knife for myself. I'm not saying that the maker wasn't a good knife. It's just what I like in a knife. Ultimately, it comes back to, what's important to you, right? And we'll see if I may have to do a little bit more. I don't know if this is enough. Felt like it was a good amount when I first did it. I could be wrong. Could be barely anything. And I'm just being overly cautious. But guess what? I think that's okay. Because if you're going to do a knife and you're going to mod it, it's better to be overcautious than to go hog wild crazy and then regret what you did afterwards, okay? So, just my 2 cents on that. Take it for what it is and, you know, tell me I'm a dummy and you don't agree, and that's fine too, right? It's totally okay. I'm not going to be offended. And you may think I'm an idiot doing this. That's okay too. Guess what? It's not your knife. This is my knife. Now, if someone were, like, I will tell you, if Javi Garcia were to ask me, how could he improve this knife? If he were to ask me. I mean, he may not. He would not care. He may never want to talk to me because I modded his knife, which is fair too. I mean, I hope I didn't insult him. I did it because I liked his knife so much that, to me, it wasn't going to be a catch and release because it wasn't working for my ergonomics. I made it work for my ergonomics. And for me, this was important. So, if it's not important for you, then don't do it, right? Don't do it. Now, let's clean up the skiffs. I like to use a little alcohol to make sure it's all cleaned out inside. Got all that nice oil, and we dry it off. I did put skiffs on these. Didn't come with skiffs, but I put skiffs on there because I like skiffs. I do recommend them. And in this case, I think it was absolutely worth it. My personal opinion. Now, one thing I didn't do, hold on. I was going to polish these as well a little bit. And what I mean by polish is I have my, where'd I put you? I know I had you right here. My strop. I'll put you here somewhere so I wouldn't lose you. Where's my strop? Well, all right, so I'll use this one here. I don't like using my fancy straps. These are the ones that, these were made for me by somebody, so, but I will use it this one time. I have another strap that's kind of like my backup. It's my work strap, I call it. So this is 6 micron diamond suspension strap. This will polish something like this way better than if you use the compound. You know, I always use the compound for the longest time, but this is way better than the compound. So what that means is the compound, the diamond suspension, it'll do a better job at polishing. Unlike the compound will break down the diamond suspension. It means there's more diamond little particles in there. It is expensive. I won't lie to you. It's not cheap for as far as material like that goes. I mean, I don't think it's crazy expensive, but I mean, for how much you get, some people might think it's insane, but I don't. Oh yeah, much better cutout relief there. I like that. Let's see. Yeah. Could I make it a little bit bigger? Probably. Can I go down a little bit more? I could. But I like it. I like it. We're getting closer. And the clip's nice and polished. I had a couple of not so polished spots that I wanted to get rid of, and I did. Back here, they were like dull. I learned sandpaper is going to be the best option, and then flits. All right, let's put some Loctite on here. So you see a little more cut out here, a little more excess over here, which is what I wanted to get into. We didn't drop this side, we kept it up, so you can see it's like a cutaway right there. So I get my big old meaty finger in there. We have that nice polish all the way around. The clip now, the back spacer looks really nice and polished like it should be. Before it wasn't quite there. I mean, could more be done? Absolutely. More could absolutely be done. I could do a satin finish, matter of fact. Get the 600 grit sandpaper and just kind of go across and give it a satin finish look, which probably not show as much. That could absolutely be done. But I like how it looks. And I like it how this keeps getting better and better. We're going to get rid of the that over the top. Almost feels bead blasted or sand blasted, but I think it's bead blasted. It's just really feels chalky, and it shows every little snail trail. This is a little better. I feel like this is a little closer. I don't mind a little bit, but I just don't want it to be so chalky that if anything, like if this rubbed across, it would leave a snail trail. Now, I mean, granted, if I knock that, well, yes, of course. So there you go. All right. Make sure we still got good Loctite. I mean, good, no blade bark. We're nice and solid. Nice and clickety. Yeah, and they're solid. I like the better axis here. Definitely more room. Could be more room. Yes, absolutely could be more room. But I like it so far. Definitely better than the first one. So there we go. Let that one sit so we can have the Loctite or whatever the Loctite settle and stay. And put this stuff away because we're going to do this one next. Oops, wrong one. So if you find this helpful, you know, or this is interesting, let me know. Let me know. If there's anything here I'm doing that you want to see more of or is particularly helpful, let me know because I'm probably going to fast forward this video. And you're gonna, some of you guys are gonna be like, I didn't get to see anything. And I'm like, I know, but I can't publish a 15-hour video, right? That's just not reasonable for me. So, you know, just to be fair. All right, so we're gonna take this guy apart now, remove some of the stuff here. I want to get it on this Loctite. So this one's gonna be a little challenging because this one takes T6s, and I have to get the special tool for that. I have another tool set over here. This is where I have my flatheads. I got dust. A lot of dust on there. Sorry. So here's the Zircuit clip. And I had to take this off. And it was super crazy sharp. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it here. But this right here, let me show you. See how sharp that is? Let me do this. You see all that? That's a nail. I took that edginess off so you can actually use it. But that's the Zircuit, so we'll put that over there. And these take the bigger skiffs. This is the one that I want to. So this is the zirconium. This is what weighs so much. I believe this is oil slick. Now, I don't know how if you ever scratch, I know how to reheat or re-anodize Damascus, but I don't know how they do zirconium. I just don't know. So, all right, I got to get my mask back on because we're about to do some more stuff here. So here we go. All right, here we go. You guys ready? And switch this up. Sorry. I'm going to make this face me. I don't want to, but I need to so I can do this properly. Alrighty, whew. That's a lot of dust. Let's wipe this down. I have to use some serious soap to get this off. I got shop floor hands. I used to work in the shop. I mean, not metal shop, what I did, but dirty stuff shop. All right, let's clean up. All right, so we need a little alcohol. Nice milling here on the inside of the knife. Now I think about it, it's pretty. All right, let's reconstruct this puppy here. All right, so as you can see, it's much more snug here. A little more polished, a little smoother than it was before. Definitely a nice cutaway. to get in there, be able to drop it, catch it there, and then for it forward. I don't like for it to fall and then be a guillotine on my finger. That's the one thing I didn't want to see happen. So this is a very polished satin finished blade here. Zirconium scales, circuit tie, backspacer and clip, and some good titanium liners here with the steel bar insert over travel stop. And we're dealing with L-Max blade steel here. Yeah, action's actually a little bit better too. I polished those washers because they were kind of gritty. And we didn't over tighten the pivot. We're just to the point where we have no blade play. I wonder if I can go just a little bit more. All right, I think I'm gonna put some Loctite on there. Just should do that. Well, I guess the clip's on that side. Okay. That was the other side. Alrighty. All right, so we're done. So I went through two knives that we did a little bit of work on, right? We showed you how to, three knives actually. We did the Large Sebenza. We put an extra line of jimping on here to show you how I did all three and spaced them out. Sometimes, you know, it's easier to plan three ahead of time than think two is going to work and then not plan it out. So, you know, yeah, that one's a little tight to the edge, but I don't mind. There's a little space there, which is unavoidable because it's just the way how the knife's made. But I like this. Now I can front flip pretty easily, right? Get my finger on there and it should flip. Whereas before I had to be at a real low spot and make sure the pressure was the right angle. Now I could just, if my finger's on there, I can pretty much flip it, right? So just finger on there. Oops. Well, can I do it slow roll too? I guess you could. So anyways, so there's that, right? The next one was this one right here. We polished this guy up just a little bit and polished the back spacer up, which was not quite as pretty as it should be. We have a little bit more of a cutout here, so when I drop it, it does catch on here, and then I can close it, right? So we did catch that like that. I like that. And then of course, you know, you can still, as long as I get my finger on there, right there like that, then you can front flip it. It's kind of a bonus flick, but yeah, I like the fact that I can get in here a little more cutaway, a little more little more for my finger to get in there, a little more comfortable, I think, or more comfortable for me. Then I can close it, right? So that was that one. And then, of course, this one right here, I wanted a little more cutaway as well in here. And this one, what I did is before I sanded this, and I don't have it here now, but what I do when I have this piece off, let me show you what I do. I'll have my pliers. I'll be in the kitchen usually. I do it by the sink where there's water. I guess you could bring water into another room. But then I'll have a piece of paper, something on here. I don't have a piece of paper handy. Of course I don't. But let's say it'll be a piece of paper, a small one, and I'll have it soaked, and it'll hold. If I'm anodizing this back part, I'll hold this part down here. So one, I'm not scratching it with the pliers, and two, it's cool. Then I'll have my. It is a creme brulee torch, a pretty good one, as long as it blows pretty well. You need the creme brulee, you need the butane. And so I'll blow that on there till it glows hot. Now you've got to just try it. Get some piece of Damascus or Zircon, and just see what the colors change, right? Some of them take time. Some of them, you'll get the darks, whatever, they'll pop out really quick on Damascus, and then they'll start to get to the blues, and then you'll get to the golds, and then you get to the golden colors, and then you get to the greens and stuff like that. So on this one, it wasn't too far in, right? And then I was able to get the same color as I had before. But I filed it down first. Of course, I took this knife apart the first time, and I filed all this stuff down. So that was nice. I did put a line of jimp in on this one here as well. And I did do originally some cutaway here, but it wasn't enough. This time around, though, pretty good cutaway. A little easier to get in there, I feel. And then action's pretty decent right now. Now, I put some Loctite in there, and I'm only going to tighten it up to the very point that I need to. But again, the trick was I held this, I'd creme brulee torch, I'd go under the water, and then I would cool it. And then, of course, just let it cool. Don't go crazy, overheat, right? I don't want you to melt it or something or totally ruin it. But that worked pretty well for me for a touch-up. So I was pretty happy with that. Now, I do think I got a little scratch there, so I could do my sandpaper here and work on satin finish. I could, go like this, try to get that. But that's going to take a while. Now I probably need 600 grit sandpaper. This is 1500. That's going to be way too fine for this. And that sandpaper there has been used. So let me see if I can see if it, I don't know if I can do it now. But I'll cut a little piece just so we can show you. Because heck, this is a long video. You wanted a long video with all of this stuff in here. So boy, I hope I can edit this one well. All right, so I got rid of most of it, but still a little spot there. Obviously I want to fix it, but it means I got to go through 600 or 400, whatever it is, 230, 600, and then get there. But that's a job for another day, or maybe have another phone call. But I'm happy that I've got more access in here now to that lock bar, and I can close it without feeling like it's next to impossible, right? And catch it right there and drop it. I would like to have maybe just a little bit more room there, I think, but we will make do with what we have today. Maybe another job for another day, but definitely more room than we started with. It's closer down here. Kind of keep the line, make sure I didn't go too far. Anyways, that's what I do when I work on my knives. Now, people asked, I shared, hey, you don't have to do it. If you don't like this, don't. Okay, I did put chapters in here, so hopefully you can skip to what you may want to skip, or if you watch the whole thing, thank you. I don't know how long I'm going to edit this, because I'll just tell you right now, this was the 3-hour video. 3 hours and 10 minutes as of right now. Hopefully I can get it down to an hour. But appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you asking for this. I don't know how many of these I will be able to do. Where's my card? Just gonna try to finish up here. Where'd I put my card? Trying to say goodbye, but I have a card and I can't find it. All right, I'll just use this one here. All right, I appreciate you guys. No, I got a card. Where is my card? It's got to be here. Where'd it go? I moved so much stuff around, I have no idea where it is. All right, guys, appreciate you. Let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what other kind of content you would like. I will try to do one on anodizing the Damascus clips, see if I have one that I need to re-anodize. Maybe I'll redo my Excalibur one. I don't know. I'll show you that. That's going to be a separate video. I don't have time for this one. It's just too much already. Appreciate you watching. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or informative, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you hit the like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. Subscribing and liking the video really helps me out. Allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone out there who watches the videos, enjoys the content, part of the live stream. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you. If you haven't already, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button as well. I mean, the notification button as well, so you can be notified of future content. Big shout out to my channel members. I appreciate you guys do two amazing things. You encourage me. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you. Secondly, because of your generous support of the channel, you allow me to do things sooner than I ever thought I could. For instance, to be able to do once a week budget banger giveaways, and also to be able to borrow knives and ship them, and then to cover the shipping of the big giveaways. Like we got the big 10K coming up. I don't know if you will see this video before or after the 10K, but hey, I have a big 10K celebration coming up. It's going to be huge, but it's going to be also like $400 plus in shipping. So appreciate you guys. Thank you, members. As a small way for me to say thank you, I do two things for the members. One, brand new members, I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. If you're a brand new channel member, email me your name and address. Secondly, channel members, if you becoming a channel member, you now are eligible for the once a month members exclusive giveaway. So each week we'll have a budget banger giveaway, but that one week in the month we'll have two giveaways, and you are eligible for both of them. Actually, one member won both, but I'll just tell you, you could win both. But that members giveaway is not a budget banger. It'll be something a little nicer. Hopefully something you would enjoy winning or giving as a gift. So thank you to you guys out there. I really do appreciate you. If any of that sounds interesting, then you like the idea of the emojis, the 1 year, 2 year anniversary special gifts, all the exclusive content, different things, check out the description down below. I have a link for 3 different tiers. Would love to have you. First of all, don't become a member because you feel obligated. Do it because you want to. And if you choose to do so, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. All right, appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, maybe consider checking me out over on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.